tough act to follow. I went to the Acme Open Mic Night a couple weeks ago, and the comics weren't very good, but I feel like I got a couple of pointers. I like sports a lot. In fact, one of my favorite sports guys is on the Minnesota Vikings, which is also my favorite team. It's Brett Favre. But the one thing about Brett Favre that I noticed is that he can't ever seem to make up his mind. He can't make a decision. It's, I'm going to retire, or I'm not going to retire, I'm going to come back, or the pieces are in place, or I think we could be pretty good. But if he could only make up his mind and make a decision, then maybe the Vikings could make up a decision and actually get into the Super Bowl already, huh? This guy's a Vikings fan over here. Huh? But the Vikings isn't my only favorite sports team I have. I actually had tickets to the Minnesota Swarm, which is the lacrosse team this year. And for those of you who don't know what the Storm is, they're the Minnesota lacrosse team. And for those, if you don't know what lacrosse is, it's in a lot of ways like hockey. Everyone runs around with big pads on and tries to hit the ball into the net, and there's a goalie. But it's in a lot of ways it's not like hockey. I mean, it's like they're playing in hockey. They're skating around on skates, sliding all over the place. But in lacrosse, it's like they're walking around on grass, taking up divots. In lacrosse, you got to sit out in the penalty box. But what is it in hockey? You got to sit in the penalty box. But what is it in lacrosse? Is it the picnic table box? And in ice hockey, the Zamboni comes by and takes care of the ice in between people. But in lacrosse, what do they got? A lawnmower or something? They call it lacrosse, but I think maybe they ought to call it the boring. I actually got my finger hurt when I was playing sports. It wasn't lacrosse, but it was in kickball. It was in the very last game of the season, and I injured my finger. And maybe that sounds like a penalty, huh, ref? But the doctor said when I went there, he said as long as I just keep it held up for 6 weeks, it'll just heal itself without any extra work. And that's amazing to me, because we couldn't make a device like a machine that would fix itself in that amount of time with no work. I mean, he said just keep it like this and it'll just go back to normal. And that maybe Brett Favre didn't get the memo. But I took Brett Favre's actually originally from Mississippi, and me and some of my friends were going to go down on a road trip last summer, or this summer, but we decided instead we'd just maybe drive around and douse ourselves with gasoline. I ran into one, or I backed up and I ran. I'm from Minneapolis. I'm from Minneapolis originally, but I used to live in St. Paul, and one thing I noticed about Minneapolis and St. Paul is that if you're on one side of the river and you go over to the other, or if you're from Minneapolis and you go to St. Paul and you tell someone from St. Paul you're in Minneapolis, they call it the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, but people get so mad if you say the wrong one that it seems more like it was a conjoined twins, like separated at birth or something. But when I came back over here to Minneapolis from St. Paul, I backed up and I ran into one of my good friends. But then I looked up in the rearview mirror and I put the car in reverse and I backed up and then I ran into him again. But I went to the Acme Open Mic Night, and although I didn't think the comics were very good, but I think I got a couple of pointers. Thank you.
Is he with you? Yeah. He's just starting out and he already knows the first rule of being a successful comedian or performer on stage. Bring your own fucking audience with you and you will be a rock star.